Good morning and welcome to Thursday. As it has become a custom on Thursdays, I have a special guest on our Daily Dose of Hope this morning. We're going to talk about mission dignity. This is something that is of critical importance to aging pastors and ministers as they deal with issues in their world and in their life, especially as I understand it, post retirement. I have on the show today my good friend, Aaron Meraz. He and I go way back. We go way back to ethics class in seminary together. But I'm just going to leave that right there. I'm not going to say anything else about that. I'll say this. We sat together on the back row of a class, and okay, that's all we need to say, right, Aaron?
That's about it. That's about
it. But Aaron and I have known each other all these years, kept up fairly well across these years. Aaron serves as, I don't know what your exact title is, but he serves as a representative for Mission Dignity. He has been a pastor. He has worked as an assistant director of missions in the North DFW area. My friend, Aaron Meraz, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
My official title is Director of Mission Dignity. So
director of, you're the director. I am in the presence of some extreme royalty. I didn't realize you had moved into that. That is awesome. That is on me for not knowing that. I apologize.
Well, when the last time that we talked, I was the manager, and so anyway, I was promoted to director in October. Our director of development, John Ambra, who we had talked about. Please do pray for him as he recovers from his stroke. Very, very difficult time for him and his family, and we're just heartbroken. Do pray for him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Aaron, what is Mission Dignity?
Mission Dignity takes care of retired ministers and widows who are at and below the poverty level.
Okay.
And so it has been around 100 years, started in 1918, the original ministry assignment of the Annuity Board and what is now called Guidestone. And we have taken care of thousands upon thousands of aged and retired ministers. Basically, you have to be 65 and over. You have to be at or below the poverty level. And then we do have an asset income limit. And so that's what it is. There's 1,700 households that we take care of on a monthly basis.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
In a nutshell, that's it.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have completed our day.
No, I'll tell you, a lot of people ask, well, how do you get the money to do all that? The way that we do that is we actually have churches and individuals and small groups in churches that donate to us every single month. And of course, we have Mission Dignity Sunday that is on the SBC calendar. And of course, Giving Tuesday, which is another thing. Mm-hmm. But it takes a little over $7.5 to $8 million a year. And we actually raise that every single year. And it is 100% of what is given goes directly to the retired ministers and widows. So a lot of people ask, how does that happen? How can you do that? And it's very simple. Somebody gave a endowment about 50 years ago.
Wow.
And that endowment has been added to over the last 50 years to where we are able to provide all of our administrative and operating costs through that endowment's interest every single year.
Nice.
So 100% of what any church or individual or any small group gives goes directly to our retired ministers and widows. And that's unparalleled in today's nonprofit world. So
1,700 homes.
Mm-hmm.
That's nationwide? Is that regional?
nationwide, and we do have some who are still overseas as well.
Oh, wow.
And so, um, so 1 out of 4 of these recipients are a widow over the age of 85. 60% of them are widows, and
Okay.
so it's fulfilling what the Scripture has told us to fulfill in James 1:27 and
Hmm.
28.
Hmm.
Pure and undefiled religion is this, that you take care of widows and orphans, and so. It's a great ministry. Been around 102 years, and
Has it
every
always been
single
called Mission Dignity?
it has not. It used to be called the Relief Committee or the Relief Ministry
Okay.
of the Annuity Board. Um, but it was originally founded, it's the original ministry assignment given to the Annuity Board in 1918. And so it's an amazing, amazing ministry, been around so long. And sorry, my dog is actually wanting my attention right now.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. He wants to be on the show. I mean,
yeah, that's right. His name is Pop Tart, by the way. It was named
Pop
by
Tart.
yeah,
Okay.
he was named by my daughter. But it's such a great ministry. It really is an incredible ministry, and um, we're just so privileged to work for it. So
Uh, it would seem to me that I guess I grew up in a pastor's home. My wife grew up in a pastor's home. They're both semi-retired at this point.
mhm,
Um, one of my dad was never able to really put much into the annuity board, not
mhm,
getting much out of it, and there's no slight on that. I mean, it's
mhm,
just he was came through a time period where, and I grew up poor, and we didn't have it. And he does a little small church on the side. My
mhm,
father-in-law, same thing.
mhm,
He had a little more opportunity to put stuff away. Different recessions have had its own issues in those
yeah,
things, as you and I have faced that as well. We just have
mhm,
more years ahead of us. But
yeah,
um, how would they go about? Because 1,700 seems like that's a low number. I mean, I know
sure,
tons of pastors, and what if the husband and wife are still alive? Are they able to get on this, or is this mostly for a
yes.
widower situation?
No.
It just
We are constantly looking for new recipients. Um, so one of the things that you have to do is simply go to our website. There's a refer someone in need.
Okay,
The number one thing we hear is, I've been a Southern Baptist my whole life and I've never heard of this.
right.
When I became director, that is one of my initiatives to change that. I pastored for 20 years,
Yep.
and I knew so many uh, uh, aged pastors who were working until they were 80 and 85,
Yeah, my dad
not
turned
being
my dad
able to
turns 80 next
yeah,
January.
yeah, and and so anyway, we by the way, if you want to refer him to us, we can actually follow up and
Okay,
see whether or not he qualifies.
sure.
And so, but all you have to do, it's just amazing how many people just don't know. And so the word has to get out. We're here to help. And 100% of what's given goes directly to these retired ministers and widows.
Hmm.
And I say retired, but you have to be 65 and up. There's still a lot of guys who have not retired, you know.
Hey, that's only
Um,
15 years for you and
yeah,
me.
I
I'm hoping that I'm still working in 15
know.
years, man. Come on now.
That's right. That's right. But it's actually one of those things that it's just getting the word out. And so we hired a guy here recently named Kyle Scott, who's our operations manager. He and I got together and started looking at demographics of where Southern Baptists are living in poverty-stricken areas, and so we've targeted those areas, and our recipient count has started to go up just in the last 6 months, and since we started this initiative. And it's just been a blessing to see it go up, because we are seeing so many recipients come in who deserve this assistance. You know, they've served their entire lives for the Lord,
Absolutely.
and out of all the people in the world uh, who deserve some type of assistance from the brothers and sisters of the Christian denomination, the fact is that our pastors and their widows are at the top. And
And it seems that, you know, they've served the Lord all these years,
mhm.
and they have done all that they could do.
Yes.
They took the advice, and I'm not trying to be negative about guys, but they took the advice
Hmm.
of put the minimum in, we'll match the minimum, all
Hmm.
of these things, and now they've retired and they can't buy bread.
Yep. You know, one of our recipients said, "Thank you so much, because now at night I don't just have to eat a piece of toast."
Gosh,
Um,
it'll
these
break your heart,
people,
man.
yeah, it
Man,
does, and it's just amazing. I mean, they're an amazing group of people. They really are.
absolutely.
Um, they've worked so hard for the Lord over the years, and here they are at this time in their lives when they need the believers and the saints to rally around them.
Right.
Mission Dignity stands ready to serve. So go to our website, www.missiondignity.org, and hit refer someone in need, and you can refer someone. Of course, you can also donate there. You can go and click the donate button, and it'll take you to our donate page. Very secure, very easy, very fast. So it's www.missiondignity.org. You got it up there, brother. That's awesome. That was fast. But do you mind if I just tell you a few stories about some of these
I
retired
would love.
ministers?
I love. It's really cool. Yes, I want you to say that. One of our listeners, actually, her aunt had been a recipient of Mission
Really?
Dignity
Hmm.
funds. Carly Bradshaw
Okay.
was widowed with kids still at
Uh-huh.
home, and
Hmm.
she was a recipient of that. She has since passed away,
Uh-huh.
but we
Hmm.
have somebody even on the listener right now that has a
Wow.
relationship to that. So it's amazing.
Well, to
Um,
that listener, I would just want you to know that we truly appreciate Miss Bradshaw. Um, the amazing thing about these retired ministers and widows is that they each have a unique story about how God worked in their lives, and it's just amazing what they are able to tell us. You know, there's one named Miguel de Luna. Him and his wife Piedad, they he was saved out of the Catholic denomination, and and he surrendered to the ministry and started preaching, started planting churches. Actually, became a PhD candidate, and
wow.
and yet at the age of 65 had to retire, and was just dirt poor. And um, I actually picked him up here recently for a video shoot, and I'm just telling you, every single person that we came in contact with, he shared Jesus with them. I mean, it was just an amazing group, and they said, "Oh yeah, brother Aaron, you know we're the main Bible study in our little trailer park, you know," and so you know they really love the Lord so much, and they live so humbly, and so many of them are still serving in some way. They play the piano. One 83-year-old lady here in McKinney, she's still keeping the nursery for her church, and she said, I love on those little babies, and I hold them and I sing the hymns of the faith to them. And she said, because I know when they get a little bit older, they're going to have to learn the choruses, you know. But
Hey, easy,
just
easy.
an,
Come on now.
but it's a great group. You know, another one is 80 years old and is still serving in the same region that he has been serving in for the last 53
Wow.
years in Alabama. And he said, you know, when we first started out, he said we saw a lot of young kids come to Christ. He said now those young kids are grandparents, you know, and he said, but I'm 80 years old. I'm still pastoring in the same area that I've been in. And he said, and I've just never had enough. He said, I've just never had enough to retire on. So I continue to pastor. He said, I receive about $600 a month from
Yeah.
the church. And he said, and then you guys provide me 600. And, you know, that's the way they live,
And is
you
he
know,
getting any
and
Social Security or anything like that from?
very little, very little. You know, Social Security has its minimum, and of course, pastors pay a self-employment tax every single year that is
Yeah.
supposed to be Social Security,
Oh,
but
I know.
it's very little, you know,
Yeah.
and so so those are some of them. You know, another one that is such a great story is well, I could keep going, but one is in New York, and he recently told us uh, he went into the hospital for 47 days. Um, he this was during the COVID crisis. It wasn't. He
Mhm.
didn't go into the hospital for COVID,
Right. Right.
but he went into the hospital for 47 days, and he said for 47 days, I witnessed to this nurse as she would take care of me. And he
Wow.
said, he said she came to know Christ. And he said, and I've kept in touch with her ever since. And he said, and she's grown, she's gotten baptized, she's gotten into a church. And, you know, out of, in other words, they don't see their ministry ever stopping
Sure.
until they pass away. And so Mission Dignity comes along, partners with them so that they can enable, so that we can enable them
Right.
to have a little bit of sustenance, a little bit of assistance.
Hmm.
We take care of the pastor and his wife until both pass away.
Wow.
As
That's
as
tremendous.
long as long as they continue to reapply every 2 years, we will assist them. You know, and so it's just one of those things that is a blessing to us and a blessing to them. And so it's really an amazing ministry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, do you? I'm just curious at this point. Do you all have like regional fluctuations because of economic issues, or is it a flat rate across the board? So they all need to move to a cheap state, or how does that work? How does that how does
No,
that how does that work?
we do not have regional fluctuations yet.
Okay.
Um, we have looked into doing that, though. One of the things that Colin and I have talked about is looking at especially places like California and New York
Oh
and
yeah.
places like that, where the cost of living is just so high,
Yep.
and and poverty looks different in every single state. You
Yep.
know, in Mississippi, poverty is very much
It's real.
almost, yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually below the national level, you
Yeah.
know. And so, but then in California it's, you know, 2 and 3 times as high the national level. And
Oh
so
yeah.
we've actually been looking into that. And there will be, I'm sure there will be something that comes out here, you know, within the next year or two.
Sure.
That's a decision that goes to
Oh yeah.
trustees.
The
Mhm.
board's got to make that choice,
Uh-huh,
or
uh-huh,
final
mhm.
rendering. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
I sit on some of those boards. I know how that works. So
And we really do. We want to help people as much as we can. You know, with 100% going to our retired ministers and widows, it's 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 not our money. You know, it's the Lord's money first, because Proverbs 19:17 says, "One
mhm.
who is gracious to a poor man lends to the Lord, and He, the Lord, will bless or will repay what was given." So when we give to the Lord.
Right.
We're lending it to the Lord. Well, who best to lend to than the Lord? We know that He's going to pay back, you
That's
know.
right. That's right.
And so when you're giving to Mission Dignity, we know that the Lord will repay what was given to you. And not only that, you're being gracious to the poor. And these retired ministers and widows are these sweet people who need it. So
Obviously, going to missiondignity.org and giving to the give button or whatever it is extremely important. When isn't it? Do you all have Mother's Day? Is that your day for giving
now
calendar? What's the SBC calendar?
the SBC calendar, so usually it's the fourth Sunday of June.
That's right. It's after Father's Day. Okay, yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's right.
However,
How did you guys arrive at the summer slump moment to ask for money? I mean,
I don't know.
T-ball's got to have its money. How are you? Why did you choose mid-June, man? How did that happen?
That's been debated for a while. But actually, when I was pastoring, I remember it used to be called Annuity Board Sunday.
Right.
And so that's been around a long time. I mean, I remember when I first started pastoring in '95. It was that's what it was called. It was called Annuity Board Sunday.
I
And
thought it was
so,
on
of
a
course,
weird day then too.
yeah.
And somebody ought to change that.
Well, actually, this year it's August 30th.
Oh wow.
We decided to move it to August 30th because COVID-19. We wanted to give churches time to
actually
readjust and to readjust. We know that churches are suffering during this very difficult time, and so we wanted them to be able to basically readjust to gathering together again, focusing upon their own needs first, and then moving forward in August and having Mission Dignity Sunday. So,
other than giving, are and certainly very critical to your need, are there other ways of involvement with this ministry that people may be interested in?
Absolutely, we get requests all the time for someone to minister to a recipient in their area.
Okay.
Now, the recipients usually have a church that they are a member of, and is taking care of them somehow, but they always need extra help. So, absolutely, you can call us or email us, and we will send you a prayer card first of someone in your area. And then you can contact that recipient, see if they have any extra needs that you might be able to help them with. We have churches that have gathered around one recipient to help them to take care of emergency needs and so on, which does lead me to something that we did start in 2018. I put forth a proposal because I kept hearing from some of our donors, as well as some of our recipients, that they were having needs that were being unmet because they were too large. Things like a medical bill too high to pay, hearing aids. Hearing aids cost a lot of money.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And eyeglasses cost a lot of money. House repair, car repair, things like that. And so anyway, we started the emergency grant fund. So that is what we call the double honor that you can give to these recipients, because recipients receive anywhere between $225 and $600 a month, depending on time, on the amount of time they've been in the ministry and the level of need that they have. And then the emergency grant can be up to $3,000. And so in some cases that doubles the amount that they can have. And so it's just a great way to give them double honor, as 1 Timothy 5:17 says. And so it's just a great way to give. And so look for, if your donors are looking for something to give to, emergency grant fund would be a great fund to give to. So,
Hey, I know you've got to skedaddle here in just a second. Any final word for us about Mission Dignity or anything else that's on your mind that you just want to leave us with before you've got to go today?
you know, first of all, let me say thank you for having me on the show. And then, second of all, these retired ministers and widows, um, they are the most precious people that you'll ever meet. I talk with usually about 3 or 4 per day. We keep a small staff at Mission Dignity. We only have 8 people on staff that takes care of the whole ministry.
Wow.
And but we do have a lot of volunteers that have assistance from.
Mm-hmm.
And so come along beside us. These retired ministers and widows are people who were there before you, and since they were there, we are here. So we are here because they were there.
That's right.
And they led you to the Lord. They
Mm-hmm.
shared their lives with you. They taught you the great truths of the faith. Now it's time for us to be there for them.
Absolutely. Aaron, thank you for
Thank you,
being
brother.
on with me today and having this conversation. Appreciate you and the work that you're doing. And we'll catch up on life and other things after a while. But I know that you've got to go. So we'll let you do that. But we'll catch up. Thank you for sharing with
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, and look forward to seeing you face to face.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll talk to you later.
All right. God bless, brother.
You too. Bye-bye. Hey, I want to thank Dr. Aaron Meraz for being on with us on the show today. It was in 1978, a retired minister, W.A. Christensen, Dr. W.A. Christensen, at First Baptist Church in Roanoke Park, California, led me to the Lord. And it is through that and other influences that I even sit here before you today. And so it is interesting. My and my wife's folks are both in the ministry, have been pastors for years. And as they're drawing to their moments of aged and time in their life, decisions have to be made and things have to be done. And there are issues that they all are facing on how to make ends meet in this particular economic moment. So I want to thank Mission Dignity for what they do, how much they do. And it is a critical and crucial ministry for those that have served and given their lives to the Lord, that we can be the recipients of that and the givers to it as well. Thank you all for being on with me today and being with us. You all have a great, great weekend. For those in the Crowley area, fbccrowley.org. We will be online this weekend. And then the 21st, we are back on campus. But you do need a seat reservation. So you can find that at our website, fbccrowley.org. You can make your reservation for your seat, whether the 8 o'clock or the 11 o'clock worship time. So you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay masked, and just have a good day. See y'all later. Bye-bye.